This week's mental precept is a fundamental question of aliveness. And it's, what am I willing to experiment with? And that phrase actually boggles the mind because the outcome is really unknown. But it's also a great way to look at life when you're trying to think of what should I do. It's like, well, what do you want to experiment with? The beauty of an experiment is that you always get what you're looking for, which is a result. You're not looking for the right answer or the wrong answer or the best way to do things. It's an experiment between what the outcome is. So there's never a right or wrong, it just is, and you always get the result. And again, that phrase, it boggles the mind. What am I willing to experiment with? And what happens to me, if you're wondering what boggle the mind is, when I say, what am I willing to experiment with? You try to go to your head and your head goes, huh? And it kind of forces you to drop in your heart and you go, I don't know, what do I want? What do I want to experiment with? What do I want to experience? So what am I willing to experiment with? And I like that angle because it's really unknown. And a new way I am really enjoying looking at life is this idea of novelty. And if you are wanting to create something in life that is novel, it means that it's always going to be new and different and unique. That's what novelty is. The way I understand it is it's never happened before. Terence McKenna talks about how time is going to speed up, and he was talking about previous to 2012, and it can be argued that we've already climaxed and have passed through that, but the novelty will increase as time moves on, meaning more and more new, oh my gosh, I can't believe that actually happened. That's never happened before. Or I've even thought, is there places in wilderness where you can walk and nobody's ever put their foot there before? And so that's what this makes me think of. What am I willing to experiment with? Or what do I want to experiment with and to see what happens? What's the result? Surprise me, right? If you decide that you want to create novelty, you can never go wrong. And just an idea to leave you with. If novelty is what you really wanted to create and manifest in your life, so uniqueness and newness and difference that never happened before, and adventure, however you want to describe that word for you, when it's novel, think about how that manifestation comes, how money and security and stuff relates to that. Well, it doesn't. Because if you want novelty, the novelty may be that you have $1 million, and it may be that you have none, and it may mean that you live in the United States, and it may mean that for some reason you landed yourself in Africa, whatever. But it has less to do with accumulation and stuff and security and safety and comfort, and more to do with surprises. And for me, I like surprises. I like new adventures and new novelty because, well, I don't know. Once you have a certain amount of experience, I think you can get bored. And this is another thing I've been kind of joking around about, is saying that I just got into spirituality because I was getting bored with the external world and I needed stimulation. And all I had left was something that was internal. The gross senses of the 3D universe didn't turn me on anymore, so I had to go into the subtle, expansive, multi-dimensional ones to keep myself entertained. It's kind of tongue-in-cheek. I kind of joke when I say that, but I have realized that I think there is part of the heart that does want novelty. It wants new. And I think the reason is because that keeps expanding us. If you keep doing the same thing over and over, that's not really going to expand you. But you have new experiences, good or bad or ugly, at least you're expanding and you now know more and expand more and have more compassion, understand more, and at least theoretically become a more full self. that is this week's mental precept. We'll see you next week.